Hello everybody and welcome back to the M850 Videos YouTube channel. I'm M850 Videos, otherwise known as M8 Central, depending on what day of the week and what video you're watching, and welcome to Birch Estate in Bowdenham version 5. Now this is the start of two relatively recently released repaint packs I want to look at. The idea is with the videos is I'm going to look at the first of these liveries in this video. Then I'm going to switch up to a different repaint pack in the next video, and then after that we'll have another look at a couple more of the repaint included in this amazing ConneXionsBuses Optare Solo repaint pack created by Amethyst Studios. Now, I get along with the folk who run ConneXionsBuses in real life. I've had quite a lot of dealings with their services and their fleet and their buses. So when I found out that this repaint pack had now been released, it was a no-brainer to get it downloaded straight away, have a little look through the repaint, see what I remember, what I recall, and I can tell you some of the tales behind the vehicles that they've had in the past that bring them up to their current fleet. So the first one we've got is URH806. That if you put that number into Google and that registration into Google, it currently comes up with a scan on the Decker that suggests that this vehicle is no longer run by ConneXionsBuses, and in fact I believe the vehicle has since now been scrapped. So this is one of the original Optare Solos. It's a Wilts and Dorset specification Solo. So it was one of the very first Optare Solos built. I believe it was on an R registration initially when it arrived, one of the R regs. And this was in the fleet with ConneXionsBuses up until the DDA deadline. That meant that this vehicle, because of its setup, required a bit of work to get it up there. I think it may have run very briefly after the DDAD sort of deadline for single deck vehicles, but it got withdrawn very shortly after and didn't last too long with the company. So we're going to make a move now. The route itself is looking to be about 20 minutes long, so we should have a nice run. It is also very strange driving. There we go. It is very strange driving an Optare Solo in the game. The most recent bus I drove in real life sort of a few days ago was also an Optare Solo, a slightly longer one to be exact. So it wasn't an M850, it was one of the longer variations of Solo that's readily available and readily operated. However, it was still an Optare Solo, so it's still really strange going from that sort of into this as well. It is a very weird transition. But yeah, this bus was part of the original batch of Optare Solos that were delivered to what is now Go South Coast. So that includes sort of Wilts and Dorset. A few have ended up running with Damery, Morbus in later years, bits like that. But they were made for Wilts and Dorset to upgrade their fleet of rural services, rural and some sort of very local urban services from step entrance, sort of bread vans and vehicles like that. At the time, these vehicles were a revolution. They provided a small vehicle that was low floor for services that were previously inaccessible for infirm passengers due to the step entrance nature of the vehicles. And as a result of Wilts and Dorset purchasing these vehicles en masse, they then became an instant hit with other companies that then followed suit in the years to come. So they do bestow that these were the first batches of Optare Solos built. ConneXionsBuses weren't the only operator in Yorkshire to end up with some of the original Wilts and Dorset sort of South Coast first built Optare Solos. In fact, Yorkshire Tiger, or as it was previously known as Centrebus in Yorkshire, ended up purchasing a large amount of them when they first started operating in Halifax. So they first started running, Centrebus started running the airport services under the name of the Huddersfield Bus Company. That was extended off their initial ownership of K-Line and the acquisition in 2008 of the business that Stagecoach ran in Huddersfield. They named that the Huddersfield Bus Company. And then they kept expanding at the time before being acquired by Arriva, changing to Yorkshire Tiger, then being acquired. Have I gone the right way or have I gone the wrong way? I feel like I may have gone the wrong way there. Have I read the right? I'm just gonna just double check I have gone the wrong way. Yes, I've read BD instead of B6. Not to worry, I have stopped somewhere appropriate for a turnaround, so hopefully it won't affect us too much. And the bus is small enough, so we're fine. I did say in the previous video as well. I said we haven't had me going the wrong way for a while in the game, so I suppose we've got to. It's got to happen, and we've got to have a little bit of standardisation on that. So yeah, I just read. I saw B. I didn't even look at the other one. I didn't realise that one of them was going to be sort of the depot, Bram the depot, and one of them was going to be B6. But the brakes are a little bit late there, but it's fine. We've got nobody on yet for our unintentional grand tour of Bowdenham. There we go. We're now back on route. So yeah, as I was saying, when Centrebus expanded, they expanded their Leeds depot around the same time they expanded their Halifax depot. So they took over a load of contracts from First Bus, who had previously used sort of 709D bread vans on them and a few bits like that. So they'd previously used them. So what Centrebus decided to do was make all of them low floor, and the cheapest way to do that was to buy a load of these Wilkes and Dorset, at the time very old and cheap Optare solos for use. So they bought an absolute ton of them. Some of them never entered service, some of them were cannibalised for spare parts, but the vast majority of them did enter service and operated locally around Halifax, and gradually were replaced prior to the DDA deadline. It is sort of an underappreciated era of bus operation in Halifax, because with this idea that quite a lot of these local services, they took over quite a few from Halifax Joint Committee and used solos on them instead. They basically meant services like the Claremounts and the Rye Lanes that had previously always been step entrance apart from the evenings and Sundays operations by First Bus. Apart from them, throughout the week and on Saturdays, Halifax Joint Committee didn't have a low floor bus. So it was all step entrance. It was all step entrance operation. So it's this idea that these vehicles revolutionised travel in Halifax by providing a low floor, yes, it was an old bus, but a low floor vehicle on the services that we do take for granted now. But when you look back and you realise that it actually took them till like 2008, 2009-ish to achieve that, is a little bit scary. Although, then again, you can discuss other areas that took even longer to achieve the same thing. So I do remember from last time doing the B6 not to take a big bus on it. That's why I thought it was going to be the most appropriate for the run with the solo. I also haven't picked up enough people that would, in any shape or form, warrant me taking a big bus on this. So I thought after the last time where it was just a calamity with a long single deck bus, I thought no, we'll use the little bus on this run. And you're not even wanting the bus. Just assumed. I saw somebody waiting at a bus stop and sort of assumed. So linking back to ConneXionsBuses, and they acquired this one, I believe from memory, was the only one of these that they acquired. It was just the one that they got, just one of these. They ran it alongside the other Optare solos. I do have a couple of photos of this exact bus in the archives. I do remember it. I remember it being unique with the front and obviously the Optare name here rather than sort of on the front panel. That was unique with the older Optare solos. So if you do see an Optare with the name there, like an Optare solo with the name there, it does usually mean, unless it's been retrofitted, it does usually mean it is an older solo. As that's how they started off with the design, and then they simplified it by just putting the Optare name on the front. At least we're back on time. We're not late, so that's good. So I didn't get to go on this. In fact, as of yet, I still haven't been on, and it's very embarrassing to say when you own a solo, I still haven't been on one of these from the first batch. I do have some friends who own one, and I am hoping at some point potentially get a ride on it, as it would be really nice to see what the original Optare solo is like, especially with the contrast between the standard bits that remain the same throughout production, and also the minor things that did change, because there are elements that did change from the first batch, where because it was a very big batch that was sent out first to Wilson Dorset, they then did reflect on that and go, well, when the next batches came in, some elements were changed and they were adapted. Like you would, oh, someone's complaining about driving again. Like you would, to be fair, with any situation, if you were producing something and it was becoming popular, you'd want to make sure that what you are providing is the best of the best. Oh, that's not going to go, is it? The lighting's spot on, so I'm going to do that. That'll do. It all comes down to this sort of centre of gravity with the vehicle, though. I think that, oh, there's just somebody just walking rogue, okay. I love when that, oh, I'll have to keep going. Point of no return. Wasn't safe to slam all on, otherwise the remaining people would have stood up. Would have stood up and gone, I've had enough. Oh, didn't want to pop the horn. Was there remaining person? Oh, there might be two actually. Yeah, we've got two people still. Yeah, we've got two people still on the bus. That's good. Yeah, this bus is ideal for a route like this. This is what I love about having the Optare Solo now in the game, is we do have an ideal small bus for some of the smaller routes. So you can actually model the smaller routes with the idea that there's now a bus, rather than sort of having to make them slightly bigger than what you want so that they are actually accessible. I mean, to be fair, I remember just using that Japanese bus when I created the small routes on Harrowthorpe. I just used the Japanese rocket. Actually, is probably the best way to describe that bus, because that bus was just absolutely rapid, like properly rapid vehicle. Really nice. It does remind me. I do need to see if I can download that map again, because I do need to see if I can download that map again that it was made for the Japan test map, because I'd love a drive with that. It was a lovely motor.
Hello, mate.
And I remember the map itself, as I say, advertised itself as a test map, but even then it was still a lovely map. Really was just a nice, I think it must have been like 15 minutes long or something like that. It still had a bit of like length to it and variety to it, but lovely. And then the bus itself, as I say, was just ideal for the absurd challenges I presented to it in Harrowthorpe. It was just a right troop. It had to be one of my favourite buses of genuinely old time that I have downloaded and driven on OMSI. We all have the buses that we like and the ones that we sort of downloaded and then driven and gone, I'm uninstalling this. I've had many of them. However, that was one of the vehicles that was just all round amazing, even though it wasn't realistic for sort of UK buses and stuff like that, like on Harrowthorpe. I still made it realistic. I still made a TM Travel repaint and utilised it under TM Travel. So I still made it work. It was such a genuinely lovely bus. I do think what doesn't help with this is the fact that the difference in the central gravity with it being a small bus means that the passengers feel like the turns a lot more than they would. Sort of, if the what do you call it? The scaling was done. That's the only issue with OMSI is it doesn't take into account the smaller and bigger vehicles because again, you do always have to remember it wasn't intended to be built for this. This was never what the developers had thought that this game would expand into when they first made it. But nowadays, I'm driving OMSI, I'm driving around a fictitious, massive UK map. So, swings and roundabouts, all exciting stuff. No, everyone's alighting the bus. Okay. Well, we tried. That indicator's in a precarious place for some reason on this. I thought it'd be more centre in the panel like it is in real life. I'd never noticed that. Why is the indicator all the way over there? The more you know. Now this'll be easy in this bus. That's quite nice. This is one thing I just don't like about the current rendition of this map, is just how tight this is. So there we go. So that's Martin Lido. So that would be where we would usually terminate, but because we can't sit there because we'd be blocking everything, we go around. Now that is a lot easier in a small bus like this. A lot like, I mean, the route itself in its entirety is a lot easier with a smaller vehicle. So just for reflections on the B6, if you are driving the B6, it's much easier with a small bus. So we go around the temporary compound. So there we go. So we were slightly early on that, but I think with the diversions taken into account, that is nice light in. Yeah, I can live with that. If we chuck it into reverse, are we going to gain a little bit of better lighting on the whole thing? I think we are. Select. And I think I'm just thinking for the screenshot opportunity. There we go. That'll do. That sort of showcases where we are, gives a little bit of context, and now we'll get the bus all switched off. So yeah, that was a nice run on the B6, travelling across from one side of Apsley to the other, and one of the local services that we've now worked out is perfect for the Optare Solo. Personally, I wouldn't take much bigger on it. Having driven this on there now, unless you really do want a challenge, this is definitely going to be my first choice vehicle if the opportunity to drive the route pops up again. So I do hope you've all enjoyed this video. As I say, there's going to be quite a few more ConneXionsBuses, Optare Solo, Repaint videos coming up. We've got some with adverts, some with specialist branding and bits like that to showcase, and I've got plenty of stories to tell you of those vehicles from my experiences of sampling them in real life, seeing them about, and taking photos of them and observing the fleet itself. So plenty more to come from this. If you have any specific suggestions of the repaints that you'd like me to see me cover, please do let me know in the comment section below as well. But again, with all that said and done, I do hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have done, do be sure to hit that like button so that both of you can find it and enjoy it like you have. And if you haven't already, do be sure to subscribe to the M850 YouTube channel for more content like this from the simulation section, with videos regularly from OMSI 2, as well as an archive of around 7,000 backseating engine-focused public transport videos from the UK and beyond, with buses, trams, trains and more. There's something on there for everyone, with an additional 21 of those videos added every week. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next video I make. Goodbye for now. Bye.